let me tell you, if you park a Range Rover full sound on max, shut the doors, and you put a Rongai Matatu full sound, they rattle the same. The vibrations are the same. They are the same. I was so shocked. I was like, no way. The vibrations coming through the mirrors, the doors, everything, bro. You can't even blast that car in public. It's embarrassing.
Yet again, we have Earl. Hey, guys have asked for Earl.
I have a different shot now.
Yeah, different shot.
They need to know it's not the same episode. It's not the same day, yes.
Yeah.
He finally got a shot.
Yes.
Do you wear shirts, by the way?
I do. Even the last one, I had a shot.
You had a shot?
You're sure you had a shot?
But he wears shirts, yes. He does. He does wear shirts. You are the one who wears...
No, he's always in t-shirts.
No, he wears shirts.
And the kitenges.
Yes. My favorite nowadays.
Yeah. Anyway, guys,
hey,
you guys have been asking about Earl since, we did episode 7, and I think it's the most viewed episode so far.
Thank you.
Yeah. Happy to hear that.
Yeah. You're popular, Bana.
I think people wanted to know how many cabbages we can fit in this room. Unfortunately, there are new rules.
Yeah.
No more cabbages
in the studio.
Studio manager said no more cabbages.
Yeah.
I don't know what's... He doesn't like farmers, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you guys for viewing. So please subscribe. You can see you're watching. Please hit the button.
We are currently at 2,300 subscribers.
Yes.
When we shot the last episode with Shli, we were saying we were at 1,000 subscribers or thereabouts.
Yeah, and by the time the episode came out,
it was 2,000 plus subscribers, which is quite nice.
Solid numbers. Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. Just keep subscribing.
And yes, welcome to another episode of Gearhaus. As usual, I'm your host, Vanilla.
And I'm your co-host, Kalasinga.
And I'm the guest.
Al Karanja.
Yes.
The man himself. Yes.
Huyu ni bingo yetu bana. Twende kwa news bana.
Anyway, what's the news? What's in the news?
Lead us.
News. So 2 things as usual. I usually have 2 news segments. Number 1, I think I shared with both of you. GWM.
Yes.
Chinese car company.
Yes.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was wondering. I was telling me GWM.
Yes, it's...
And then it tells me
Great Wall Motors.
Great Wall Motors.
Yes.
So I think these guys have done something.
And they're in Kenya now.
Yes.
And they actually have been.
They've been?
Yeah.
I think they...
For a couple of years.
No, I don't think a couple of years. I think they're under Crown Motors, no?
They're under Crown Motors.
Yes.
It's not the guys who are on Mombasa Road.
Yes, it's those guys.
Samia Park, Crown Motors, just up on Yuma.
Yes.
So, but then I think for Kenya, they sell Haval or something. I've not seen the GWM 4x4s.
No, the tank. The tank is here, 300.
Was it 300?
Yes.
Pickup, I'm not so
Pickup
sure.
I haven't seen, but the tank 300 are quite a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
So GWM, they decided to test out their 4x4s in Australia.
Yes.
And in Australia, there's a place called Springs 4x4 Park. So it's almost, for 4x4 guys, it's the equivalent of the Nürburgring. So many guys just go there to test their cars, and then some of them just go to watch other 4x4s being tested.
Yes.
So many manufacturers really test out their cars there. And there's one particular hill. It's called Beer O'Clock Hill.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know the Beer O'Clock Hill. So the Beer O'Clock Hill, it's a 100-meter climb. Incline. I think it has some 50-degree segments.
Yes.
Sharp rocks, loose sand, and all of that. Yani basically, it has a lot of, all of that, whatever.
It's a proper hill climb.
Proper hill climb, yeah?
Yes.
So, no stock 4x4s are able to climb that hill.
Even with triple lockers.
Yes. 79, 300 series, Land Rovers, they can't. They have to be modified to do it.
Yes.
Jeeps have to be modified to do it.
And it's important to tell them that short wheelbase 4x4s cannot go there. They are not allowed.
Jimneys are not allowed.
Yes, and not even short wheelbase Pajeros, the big ones. They are not allowed because of risk of flipping back. Yeah.
It's a 50-degree climb.
Yes.
So the reason
why Jimneys can do, they're just not allowed.
No,
So let's not say no stock 4x4 has
You know,
not.
now the unfortunate bit is we can never prove his point.
You can never
because
prove it.
they'll never go there.
They'll never go there.
So we might as well say
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Because I'm sure
Yes.
there's someone with a triple lock chimney that can probably
That
do
can
it.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
But 5-door chimneys, are they allowed? I'm
I
not sure.
haven't seen.
Since
I don't know if
the-
they are selling five. Yes, they're selling
They're
them in
selling
Australia.
they're
Yes,
selling
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, haven't seen.
Yeah. So GWM has broken 2 records. So the first plug-in hybrid to do that climb.
Yes.
They have a double cab called the GWM Canon Alpha. It's a plug-in hybrid double cabin,
Yes.
which has 400 horsepower. That's Ranger Raptor power, V6 power, petrol power, and it's
Yes.
a 2-liter, by the way.
Yes.
And what's the engine on
GWM.
that hybrid?
The GWM is a 2-liter.
2-liter 4-cylinder.
2-liter 4-cylinder with a
Yes.
hybrid assist.
Yes.
So they did 400. That's 400 horsepower, 715 Newton meters of torque. That's AMG level of torque.
Yes.
And then
Serious power.
and then the Chinese decided to put a locker at the rear, locker at the front.
No middle,
I think it's
no center lock.
they call it twin locked, but I think when you put it on 4H, it locks the center diff
Oh, it does.
automatically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the first plug-in hybrid vehicle to climb
Be
Clock Hill. That's the
Yeah.
first record.
Mm.
Second one they were saying is it's a second 4x4. Actually, no, there's another 4x4 called the GWM Canon. It's a 4x4 pickup truck.
So it's still a GWM.
GWM. So basically, they took 3 vehicles. Let me just clarify: 3 vehicles. They took the mild hybrid pickup, not the mild hybrid, the plug-in hybrid pickup. They took the Canon, which is a normal 2.4 liter diesel pickup, and also there's a GWM tank.
Yes, the tank. Was it the 300 or the 500?
I think the 300.
Okay.
So they took those 3 vehicles to Clock Hill, and all 3 vehicles made it up. Stock. The only thing they did was put all-terrain tires.
Yes, and good pressure.
And good pressure. That's
Yes.
it. So the other car that broke the record was the double cabin pickup, if I'm not wrong. So it's the first second stock car to actually go up Clock Hill. The first one is an Ineos Grenadier. I've seen the video of the Ineos Grenadier going up that hill. It struggled.
This one made it look easy.
Easy.
What
Easy.
Grenadier was it? The quartermaster or what?
It was the normal one,
The normal one.
the normal
Okay.
SUV.
Okay.
But then the Trail Master. You know the one that has
yes.
I think it's the off-road package.
Yes, the
one.
off-road.
Yeah, the off-roady one,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
So GWM is doing.
You think the quartermaster would have done better?
I mean, it has the wheelbase for that.
Yeah,
So depending on
And who's the driver?
yes,
yeah. So GWM is actually doing proper stuff. You know,
And
'cause-
the Chinese generally have
Yeah.
been doing good
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, across all the
Yeah.
way from the electric vehicles
yeah,
so
to
Yeah.
now their 4-wheel vehicles.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
some serious work
Yeah.
going on into the other day I was into the G-Tour showroom.
dealership.
Yes, and they have the car that I'm about to review is a G-Tour dashing, calling it dashing.
You G2 and sound so Kiswahili.
I know, yeah, it's a G-Tour.
No, with the local scene, we are,
Yes.
guys are like, another kusema G-touring.
I know,
G2.
but that car is cheaper
Mm,
than a used CX-5.
yeah,
They are going
Brand
for
new.
around, yes, brand new.
yeah.
So they are pricing them around can't I remember the price? 4.5.
Mm.
So they are keeping them under 5 million.
Oh, nice.
That means it's going to be cheaper than a new Jimny.
Nice.
And it's the size of a Vanguard
Uh-huh.
and the size of a CX-5 because they have the Plus and then they have the normal now crossover SUV.
Yeah.
But what surprises me most is that you get a panoramic roof.
Uh-huh.
That's for 4.5 million shillings. You have a panoramic roof, and the same system you find in a BYD. I think Chinese are sharing a lot of tech. So the voice control on the BYD, it's really nice because you can.
It's very responsive.
Yes, you can close the windows. You can open the sunroof. You can control the AC. You can control a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's the same on that iPhone there. In fact, even the loading.
Animation.
Yes, it's the same. So I think the software is shared
Yeah.
across the Chinese brands.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, why would you pay, especially now that the taxes on the CX-5 have gone up? why would you pay? How much do you think a CX-5 will cost with the new taxes?
Probably
It was around already over 3 million.
Yeah, it was around 3.5.
3.5, yeah.
3.5.
So they've gone up by what?
I think with the new taxes, maybe you'll start seeing them at 4.5. Actually, at the price of that.
Yes, 4.5.
Yeah.
So just imagine you're buying a brand new car, 3-year warranty. It has a panel roof, not a sunroof. It has everything but heated seats. It doesn't have heated seats. But the tech, the living spaces, everything feels premium, you know? And you ask yourself, why would you go for a used CX-5 at that point?
And just today, one of my buddies was in China. I think it was at a motor show or something. He kept sending me photos of all these Chinese vehicles, and he's telling me these things are bloody cheap. And the specs are way up there. Like he was telling me, he compares it with like the 204 E-classes here and looks at their price point versus what he's seeing there. He's like, this guy is way better than most of those cars we're buying in Kenya. And yet it is like half price. He's telling me he's finding vehicles that are being sold new for something like 30,000 US.
Yeah, that's basically you could buy those cars off Alibaba. You don't even have to go to China. Literally, off people. I know people who are buying in large numbers from Alibaba.
And I think it's only a matter of time before we see them.
Now they have one car that is about to come, and I think it's gonna change the game. You know, now the GWM tank is a bit pricier, even the 300. So they have how will I remember the name of that car? It looks like a mini Defender. So it's the Jetua T2.
Oh.
It looks like a mini Defender. And the only reason you don't see them here is because, first of all, now there's a dealership. And number two, there are no right-hand drive units for that car. So there are a few in Kenya like two, but they're on Congolese plates, SSD plates. But in Dubai, I think it's the new Jimny. Because the price is good. It's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder petrol turbo. So you have fair enough amount of power. It's decent power. But the looks. Remember our previous conversation? People buy boxy SUVs. That car is selling like hotcake in Dubai. People are buying that car in large numbers.
Nice.
So in the next few months,
in fact, I honestly think the Chinese will take over.
They will. In a very big way.
I mean, look at South Africa. All my friends who are reviewing cars there, the likes of Kumbi, Miss Nyashanu, and all these people, they are reviewing Chinese cars. At one point, I asked them, what is going on, guys?
Actually,
don't you have any other cars?
They were the first guys you could see reviewing Havals and all those things. And
yes, I mean, I'm only reviewing these cars now. They've reviewed them like a year ago and all that, you know?
You can imagine, like for GWM, you're getting a triple locked 4x4 for maybe half the price of a Jeep.
Yes.
Or half the price
of a used Jeep for that matter.
Yes. Even a Jeep is better. Think about it in comparison to a Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser, 79.
Yes.
Those things are so expensive.
Yes.
And yet you have that triple locked from China, which performs
that triple locked Toyota or even whatever Jeep cannot go up that hill stock.
Yes.
It can't. The Chinese car can actually do it stock.
So it's not an issue of even what you're giving out.
Yes.
Because the vehicle can perform.
And
you have a 3-year warranty. So, I mean,
3-year warranty or 100,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. It's
even on the local market, if you look at the Uber chap market.
Yes.
Guys are now getting those little Chinese vehicles. I don't know if you've seen them. No, not the Neta. The other smaller ones which have been on the roads. They are 2-ton, tiny little things.
I've not seen them.
You've not seen them? What are they called?
We'll put them.
There's someone over there. I think we'll add them. But they become quite popular. They're really tiny, small cars. I think someone was saying they're going for about 800K new.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I'm like, 800K?
Yeah.
I think
for a market like this, which is overly hyped with used cars and the cars are very expensive, then if new cars from China come in at the same price as used cars, I can tell you the average person, even me myself, I have no business driving a CX-5, driving a used Tiguan, driving a used XC60, even though I love the Volvos. I have no business in that car.
Because even spec for spec.
Yes. I mean, if you go, they're using artificial leather, but it feels good.
But who cares? Because, again, I mean, a lot of cars actually use artificial leather.
Yeah, they have moved away, unless you are buying premium and you decide, I actually want actual Napa leather.
Actual cow.
Yes, you want an actual Napa leather, not just any of that, and you pay premium for that because they are gonna charge.
You actually have to specify.
Yes, you have to specify. Even I think on Range Rovers, Bentleys, they now allow you to specify the type of leather that you want. Yeah.
So no cows for you. It's just you you find guys coming over to the workshop and they're like, oh, you really need to take care. This is leather. Even Prados, like the VXLs you were reviewing and so on, which are premium, they're top of the range. Those things just have your artificial leathers.
Unless it's specified, properly specified,
like that custom built vehicle.
Yes. I mean, semi-aniline also is what is very common nowadays.
On the Range Rovers, you get semi-aniline.
Semi-aniline, which you will see now on the next. I was doing a comparison between the Range Rover
and the LX600.
And I think that one I will drop before this episode. But by the time you see it, you will know that the leather on the LX600 feels more superior than the one on the
Range Rover.
Range Rover. Then if I bring a G63 there, the Napa leather feels more superior than both of them. You know, and it's amazing that nowadays you're paying premium for things you don't even know. And that's why I always say it's good. You see, out there, they don't have the advantage of, unless it's a multi-brand dealership, you will not be in a position to specify whether you want an LX600, a Range Rover, or a G63. You are most likely to go to a Mercedes-Benz dealership. You look at a G-Wagon and you're like, oh, this is it. Range Rover dealership and you're like, I actually want this. Or a Lexus, and that's the same. So you never get no
comparison.
And you see, if you compare by walking in and walking out of another dealership, you will not get the real comparison. But if they are, you'd forget. If they are placed side to side, let me tell you, you jump into a cockpit of the Lexus LX600, then jump into the Range Rover, it's night and day. You feel like you're moving from what do you call it?
Supposed to say from a cupboard.
No, actually you feel like you're moving from like a penthouse to a studio. The materials.
The penthouse is the LX600.
It's the LX. It's night and day. I mean,
that's actually a very strange situation. Where now you're talking about an LX being a penthouse.
No, it's really, they have Range Rovers. I think anyone who doesn't see the faults, especially in the build quality, from how the leather is stacked in a Range Rover versus how the leather is stacked on a Lexus, you can tell the Japanese took their time to do it. On the Range Rover, probably someone who was just hired 2 months ago.
But even on build quality, like you were saying in one of the reviews, the build quality is a whole different ballgame. A lot of rattling, very quiet rattling in the Range.
You're telling me about it today.
I was telling him about it today. I mean,
like in the Range, you feel there's some kind of quiet rattling. You can't really tell.
There's a test I actually did, which I'm doing it this Saturday, but I did it. I was going to actually put it in that review, but it was such a huge discovery for me. I said it needs its own video. And I just wanted to test out the soundproofing on the Range Rover versus the LX600. And I ended up blasting. You have to, the way I did with the S500. So you just blast the music, get out, close the door, then you listen if there's any noise coming out. Now, both of these cars have a double glass, but they don't have any insulation. So obviously you expect some bit of noise to come out. So on the LX, you could actually feel it, But now on the Range Rover, I thought I expected, I'm paying a premium for this. So minimal noise. Let me tell you, if you pack a Range Rover full sound on max, shut the doors, and you put a Rongai Matatu full sound, they rattle the same. The vibrations are the same. They are the same. I was so shocked. I was like, no way. The vibrations coming through the mirrors, the doors, everything, bro. You can't even blast that car in public. It's embarrassing. Can you imagine you're just driving, blasting music, and out there is a... What is that? One of that 7 million shillings car. It's unacceptable. Then you go in a 10-year-old S500 W22, and no matter how loud the music is inside.
But you'll also notice that, it's more like they stopped caring somewhere down the line, because you listen to the older Range versus, Land Cruiser of the same age. So most likely like a 100 series or something.
Mhm.
And the Range Rovers then were better. No, they still had rattles, but they were better. Now,
But the British have always had quality issues.
That
Their
is-
cars look nice.
I remember the worst thing I ever had in selling a Range Rover was we sold a brand new Range Rover, and that was a P615 SV long wheelbase. And it came to the showroom. We picked it up from the dealership. Came to the showroom. We were supposed to export it to Indonesia, and we tried to start the car. The car doesn't start. So we think, oh, maybe it's a fuel issue. It's anything like
battery.
that. Battery issue, anything related. So we had to call in a tech. And lucky enough, they sent someone who checked, did whatever they did. The car started. So the client was supposed to fly in the next morning. So he's not even coming to pick his own car. He's coming to see the car, go to his business in London and finish whatever he's doing. Then I'll fly out. Let me tell you, we shukisha the front seat. It's an SV. So what happens is that the front seat can, on the back left, can fold so that you have maximum legroom.
Yeah.
Tell me why it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. We try everything.
Yeah, the seat refuses.
It doesn't.
Is this a new car? Or it's just a...
This is a brand new car. So this was in 2024. So that's a 2024 car. We try everything. And when we now call the Range Rover again, they say the next available person who can come in 3 days.
Crazy.
And the customer is supposed to come and see the car.
That's crazy.
Well, you can just tell him this is
And
permanent legroom.
you think it's a Range Rover issue. We sold another McLaren back when the 720 was hot on the market. So McLaren 720S, we sell the car. Client drives around the block. The rear wing doesn't come down. It doesn't go back down. It looks like a bloody Subaru.
Like a Subaru,
You know? So the client is like, this is supposed to be active, yeah? Yes, it's supposed to be active. What's happening? It's so bad that there's a whole business in London of people who specialize in British sports cars and luxury cars outside of the dealership because the dealership is not helping. You've seen Supercar Bruce on... he works with GVE, very big dealership in London, specializing in celebrity cars and all that. And they have a master, what I would call a master tech. So it's called Supercar Bruce. He has his own Instagram and everything. The tips he gives, you can literally scroll through his page, just looking at the tips. Things as small as my car won't start. The battery is down. I can't open the doors. What do I do?
What do you do?
And he's just gathered all that knowledge to the point, I think, even people with brand new cars, they don't bother going to the dealership. They just call GV.
Supercar Bruce.
Can Bruce help me?
Oh, talking about the British, because we were that the British, cars thingy,
Yes.
McLaren. Of course, we've been seeing the trending McLaren seller. This is the second piece of news.
Oh, okay, yes.
You took us to McLaren, so let's talk about the second part of the news.
Yes.
Burna Boy's McLaren.
Yes. He has a new McLaren Senna.
Tattoo in Netherlands.
Yes.
Hey, Maze, I think it's the first McLaren to be driven over sewage.
That's what I've seen people saying, but people are forgetting that we've driven worse on worse roads.
But
I think
was it a McLaren?
it's a McLaren Senna, yes, and
No, I mean
you've driven on
the ones
bad
you've
roads.
driven.
It's not a McLaren.
no, but you remember the reason I gave you. Burna Boy is not like the rest of us car guys. So when I'm driving in Nairobi, it rains, it floods. I know the roads to use. I will not just go driving.
You won't visit me.
Yes, Burna Boy is a celebrity. Of course, he's gonna go where his fans are. So that means if he's gonna pass through, the equivalent of bad roads in Kenya, the areas
Which
themselves,
is everywhere.
which is everywhere, including let's say Museum Hill. If he has to pass through there to get to his fans in a specific area, then he'll do it. He went through that sewage like it was no one's business.
So we can all agree that that's the first Senna.
On a sewage.
No, it
Over
is the
sewage.
first. It is the first center over sewage, unless someone took one on gamble and we never saw the video. You know,
And it's a special center, by the way. It's an exposed carbon.
it's a
center.
fully
Like
exposed
MSO.
carbon theme. Yeah,
Yeah.
MSO carbon theme.
Yeah.
That's 300 to 400,000 as an option alone.
Yeah.
And
so basically, I think McLaren, they either paint over actually the car is carbon fiber. The
yes,
McLaren
it's full
Senna is
carbon. Yes,
fiber.
full carbon fiber inside outside. Yes,
The carbon.
So now they can paint on the carbon fiber.
yes,
And then if you want it exposed,
yes.
you're charged extra.
You're charged
to leave it exposed.
Yes, because you're not just leaving it exposed. It has to be left exposed and protected at the same time. It's not just bare. There's a difference between exposed carbon and bare naked carbon. The only person who is doing bare naked carbon is Koenigsegg, with what they call Koenigsegg naked carbon, KNC. That's now properly naked.
But it's also a special kind of carbon. It's a treated carbon.
I'm not sure about that, but what they do, I think their way of treating carbon is different from what everyone else is doing. So, for example, if you look at a naked carbon Koenigsegg, it's really naked. You feel like you're in it. It immerses you into the carbon itself. But also this Senna is quite something. I mean, there are only 2 in Africa with exposed carbon. The other one is in South Africa. Yeah,
but South Africa is a different league. Those guys have like 7 or 8 Sennas.
They have about 8, including a GTR. So, and for those who don't know, the GTR is a track-only version of the McLaren Senna. So South Africa is a different ball league. Yes, different league.
Actually, talking of Koenigsegg, you saw the new engine, the ratio flux engine. The thing is under 40 kgs, but it has the potential to produce 800 horsepower and over 1250 Newton meters of torque on an engine that you can actually, if you are a gym bro.
Yes, to just put that into perspective, your average V8 engine is around 170 to 200 kilos.
About 200.
Yes, about 200 kilos. So that is indeed
so that's
huge
5 engines.
Yes.
At 800 horsepower.
Yes.
It's insane. So you can imagine when that is fitted onto their carbon vehicles.
Yes.
The power to weight ratio is
it's insane.
It's actually
they were the first people to create a 1 to 1 megawatt car. And that's just the level of dedication from Christian von Koenigsegg.
It's insane, and it's pure engineering. It's not gimmicks.
He's a pure geek when it comes to this. I mean, he has a wonderful team working for him, and in person, he's probably the most humble car owner. I'm not gonna call him a CEO because he owns the brand. He's the most humble person who owns a brand I have met. I mean, from the likes of Horatio. I've met Christian and a few others, but Christian is on another level. He looks like the guy you just walk into and ask him, do you like an R34 GTR? And he's like, yes, I owned one before, you know.
He's a humble guy. He even drives a GR Yaris.
Yes, he drives a GR Yaris to work.
Yeah, his daily is a GR Yaris.
Yes, so sorry, probably the only other person who comes close to him is Mate Rimac. Mate Rimac, he's you've seen he drives an M5.
Rimac is actually a people's.
Yeah, M5 is another interesting car.
He has an E39.
E39, yes.
And he has quite a selection of BMWs.
Rimac, for context, Rimac is the owner, not the owner. He's the CEO of Bugatti.
Yes, now he's the owner of Rimac, but Rimac owns Bugatti.
Bugatti,
Yes. So he's the coolest CEO you will see on Instagram. He posts under Mate Rimac, but also Koenigsegg posts under KVC. And the only person without, obviously, an Instagram page is Horatio. Maybe it's private, but
he's Italian.
So Horatio is well kept. He only speaks in Italian.
Yeah, I've seen that.
He will not. Don't go speaking to him in English. If you really need to hear what he has to say, find a translator.
Get some kind of translator and just speak to him in Italian.
Yes, he's also he's not just started Pagani just like that. He started working at Lamborghini. In fact, I do know that Pagani makes some of the best carbon fiber on the market to the point of that they are also supplying to some. And these are not many people who know, but you've heard of Top Car. So Top Car they're like Brabus, but they deal in Mercedes-Benz, they deal in Lamborghinis and all that, and Porsches.
Yeah.
So Top Car gets its carbon fiber from Pagani.
Nice.
So the quality of carbon fiber you see on a top car,
Yeah.
G63 for example, or a top car,
Yeah.
Porsche 911 Turbo,
Yeah.
It's Pagani.
Pagani
is
level.
Pagani quality,
Yeah.
because they are using the same supplier.
Hey, and now you've already taken us to where we were supposed to be going.
Which is
The issue of supercars and, whatever he does.
yeah.
I had gotten to a point where, I joined them when they were doing the e-visa system where you have to apply for the visa online.
Yeah.
And no one could use that system.
Yeah.
So I found a way where you can translate the whole page using the Google Translator
Translates.
button on top of Chrome.
Yeah.
And you translate the whole page and it's just as easy to use.
Yeah.
So the only problem we had was I found a whole queue of people because they are processing like 1 or 2 visas per day.
Per day, yeah.
And you have an embassy that is serving, get this, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Nigeria, and some other small
I
countries.
just wanted to ask, how many people are going to Colombia? But then now that you mentioned that,
Now, it's a very tricky. What Nigerians used to do, they'll go to Colombia, then the US. They'll go to Colombia, then the US.
Yeah.
So Colombia was like a shortcut for people who are traveling to the US. And it was quite...
it's that thing where
The
they
traffic-
first go south,
Yes,
and then
you-
now they come.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the traffic was quite huge, and I'm there just doing a lot of the visas are too many. I've learned how to translate the system, and I realize you can literally process this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
One visa in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I start doing it, and then I have to confirm it's too quick. Is this?
Am I
Am
doing the right
I
thing?
doing the right thing? Then someone comes, yeah, you've done it. This is exactly how we do it. How did you even manipulate the system? Because they couldn't understand it, and it's in Spanish, but they can't still understand the system. So what I used to do is work so quick. By midday, I've processed everything.
Yeah.
Then from 1 all the way to 5,
Yeah.
I'm just doing my own stuff. So I'm just,
Writing.
yes,
Positive spirits.
yes.
Okay.
That's a good way to have 2 jobs.
2 jobs.
Yeah. So even though one was not paying, the embassy thing was an internship, so it wasn't paying.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't paying. But they did offer me a job at $800 per month. And
That is in 2015, 2014.
actually around 2013.
2013.
Yes.
You're older than I thought.
Around 2013, yes. Because 14 is when I finished.
Yeah.
It's when I graduated. So it was like a year before. And I looked at it, I'm like, $800. I'll have to stop everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll have to stop. I'll have to be focused now on this job. And I just turned the job
And it's
down.
not exactly what you want to
Yes,
be
it was
doing.
good money back then. $800 was good money.
Yeah.
Well, the dollar wasn't that high. It was about 100. But still, $800 per month was a good
So the good
salary for someone who doesn't have a job,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, you're saying who doesn't have a job, but you have a job.
No, well,
Or you
that-
mean for that other guy?
Yes,
Yeah, for the guy that doesn't have GT spirit.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
the guy
yes.
that
So
has GT spirit.
I basically sat with the ambassador and told her, look, unfortunately, I cannot take this. I have to finish my studies and I have, just to go step by step,
Yeah.
So I from there on, I just, went back now to school, full writing, and I didn't bother looking for a job. I realized, working in those embassies, I realized that the dream that you have as someone who is in college, that you think you're just going to go through, I was doing international relations, you think you're just going to go to school, learn international relations, do maybe probably a master's, then you come back, get hired by an embassy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or anything of that. That's what everyone
And
thinks.
in 5 years, you're the ambassador.
My friend, things are different on the ground. So how I knew is I used to go through a lot of paperwork because I did work in about 2 embassies as an intern. And I used to go through that paperwork and I see the links that these embassies have with Kenya. And the names were the familiar names. These are not names of people who are working in embassies also around the world related to Kenya.
Yep.
So the Kenyan embassies abroad, or the missions, or even anything just related to Kenya and also related to that embassy. The names were quite familiar. And by familiar, you know what I mean. It's names that you just...
Same old.
Yes,
Same
same
old,
names
same
that you
old,
keep seeing. So even if it's not the same person, so the first name is different, but the last name is... So you just know it's
Yeah.
That
a whole
family.
line.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I asked myself, then at that same time, a colleague of mine who had worked there for about who had worked for one of the embassies for about 10 years. Out of nowhere, he comes to work in the morning. He hasn't grown from a secretary. 10 years, he hasn't grown in that embassy. Zero growth. You've been sitting in this desk for 10 years. You started when you were 30, you're now 40. What do you have to show for? A fielder. He was at least driving the latest fielder in the Kenyan market. Not even the new one, because that is new to Kenya now.
New to Kenya, yeah.
And I used to look at him and I just see myself through that. Like, I know he really wants to grow. But what shocked me, he was doing a PhD.
Okay.
He had gone through the masters, everything. And he tells me, let me tell you, it's not easy. Without connections, you're going nowhere. So he came to work one morning and they told him, we are hiring a new person. We can't keep up with your salary.
Yeah.
Because now he was way above his grade. I mean, this is someone who has 2 masters. He's doing a PhD and he sits in the secretary office for 10 years in a row doing the same thing. Nothing changes.
That's insane,
and you don't have time for your own work.
Yeah.
So you can't say that over the weekend I'm gonna do this and this. So he just came. He was told there's no more job. We are not renewing the contract again. And it just made me understand, why am I chasing this kind of job? Because I really did want to pursue international relations, and I really did want to like pursue diplomacy, especially.
And I think you have made a great diplomat. If became a diplomat,
I feel like maybe I would have done something. You know,
he likes to.
I would have at least
to give the political version of stories.
I would have at least influenced the foreign policy of Kenya at some point, especially in terms to tax policies and all that,
which we really need, by the way, because at this point in time,
indeed, we need diplomats who can actually also advocate for this. Because you see, if we are working with different countries like Japan, Japan is a multi-billion industry in terms of car, in terms of especially used cars, and Kenya is a big buy. But something will shock you that, especially in the last few months, Tanzania is actually ranking higher than Kenya in terms of importing used cars from Japan. That doesn't mean that Kenya is importing less cars than Tanzania. It just means that Kenyans are now buying cars from other cheaper places. It means that as much as I want a clean Japanese car, I just don't have the money. The taxes are killing us. So I'll just have to go to Singapore, buy a used C-Class that looks like it has been used on Gigi, because Singapore has the worst used car market. I'm going to just tell you that. Worst used car market. If you want a dirty car, buy from Singapore. You're better off buying from South Africa. But that said, we don't have an option. So you may think that Tanzania is ranking high in terms of buying Japanese cars than Kenya. It doesn't mean we are buying less cars. It means that people have now started saying, look, this is the maximum I have to spend on a car. I have to pay mortgage or whatever loans I have. So I can't afford to pay this much for an E-Class. I really want an E-Class, but I'll have to source it from a different market, you know? So those kind of, if you have a good diplomat who knows how to manipulate the market, I'm telling you, he is going to influence the tax policies in Kenya as well. So I looked at that and I saw that I don't have a chance here. I remember I went home one day, and I remember that's when the L405 launched.
The Range Rover
L405. Yes. I remember seeing it for the first time. Red plates. And I'm like, how many decades will it take for me to be here? And you see, as car guys, we see progress in terms of cars. We like to see our progress in terms of cars. Like I started with a Probox. I'm now driving Touareg or wherever I am, you know.
You're driving
a Jimny.
Yes, or even a Jimny. That's how we measure our progress.
True.
The average person will measure progress in terms of I started renting, I'm now a homeowner. I'm a homeowner, you know. So I remember looking at that Range Rover in traffic. What's that road called? Because I was going from Gigiri to Ngara to Shika Matatu.
Limuru Road.
That's Limuru Road.
Yes, that's Limuru Road.
So on that road, it's in traffic and I'm just looking at that car. Damn. Look at that. Red plates. I'm like, who did he have to kill to get that car? And obviously, having gathered all the information I had, I decided this course was not going to work for me. I don't stand a chance to even make
own that
to
405
own
now.
that L405 Range
yes
Rover.
for in terms of what I know, and even to get the job I want.
Yeah.
So I, after the internship, graduated, I never bothered. Get this, I never bothered to apply for a job.
Yep.
And it was a few years of struggling, living with a salary of, depending on how many articles you're writing.
Oh.
But that didn't, I mean, I had, obviously everyone is telling you, apply for a job, do this
Actually,
and
that's
this.
what I wanted to ask.
Yes.
So at this point, what are your folks thinking? I mean,
No, they
you know,
want
the
you to
minute
apply.
they see you in
Yes.
the embassy, they're
Yes.
like, no,
Yes,
maybe a kid was.
actually, my dad did ask me. The good thing, my parents, like I said, they were both teachers, so they are progressive people. So my dad did ask me, "What do you think?" And I told him I don't want to take that job. He said that's fine. My mom never questioned my lack of a job for the past, few years until now. I started selling supercars. She just understood I have a job that pays my bills. It's enough to do that. Enough for me to not call home and ask for money, and enough to pay my college, because that did pay my college. I did take a loan, and I eventually paid my loan. So I didn't have to call home and ask my parents, can you pay for college? But I mean, college was cheap, man. Technical university was like 30K a year, man. You have no business calling your parents for 30,000 a year. It's just just hustle. Pay that college fund. People who are in UCU and those big universities, we can't understand them. It's expensive to study in those universities. But if you're in a polytechnic, bro, honestly, you can even go to school for free. But they understood that I have done all that by myself, and they never bothered to ask me for why am I not applying for a job. So I did go for a couple of years without a job, struggled, not knowing what to do, until now I started. We were talking with a friend of mine, now my colleagues from Germany. Yes. And, one friend just told me, like, you need to ask yourself what. I did sit down with him and asked him, what can I do? I need to be at the same level. I mean, the guy just bought a new M2. The
That
other
time.
guy, yes, that time. That was now, we are in 2014, 15. So 15 maybe. So the guy just bought a new M2. The other guy just bought a new C63. The other guy just bought, and I'm asking guys, what can I do to be on that level? I do know I'm in a country where these cars are millionaire level, but I still need to know where can I do to at least get to a point where I'm also, owning a car and do this. The guy just told me, look at what you're not doing and do it. Don't focus on what you're already doing. That's the best advice someone ever gave me. So I just look, I have all this knowledge on social media, everything. It's just breaking out. Why don't I start doing my marketing on cars? And I just opened the page.
Supercars for sale.
These are cars I deal with every time. And I just started marketing them. Only for me to realize what I know, people don't know. And I'm like, Kumbi, I'm sleeping on
So
information.
you're posting these cars on Facebook. Are
Yeah.
you posting them for sale?
Not
Or you're
Facebook. Not Facebook, bro. Facebook.
Facebook ni ya wazee kama wewe.
Wow.
Wazee kama wewe unatumia Facebook.
I was just doing Instagram, yes.
Instagram.
Yes, but
Yes.
you just, they're not for sale. You're just posting.
No,
at this
these
point-
are for sale.
For sale.
Okay.
These are for sale. I opened a total of 4 pages. Supercar wheels. This was focusing on exotic wheels. Like back then we had ADV1 wheels, HRE wheels. We had Rohana. We had the most popular L13 came just the other day. But we had those Vosens, the lights. And I was focusing on those. Then I opened supercar tuners. Back then tuning was huge. Just selling those tuning packages. Before even the likes of Gintani came into the game. So we had Novitec, we had Techart, we had Gembala, we had Haman, we had Luma, we had Topcar, Brabus, of course, all those premium brands, yeah? So I could post them, and the pages were growing at a fast rate. I think in the first 2 months, all the pages were each at 20K.
Yeah.
Wow.
And back then, Instagram had a very nice
Lawful
algorithm.
Yeah.
How that if you have one big page, just like your post, it's
That's
gonna go
it.
into the
Yeah.
explore page or just blow up.
Yeah.
So I used to use my pages to grow the other one. So the one that grows fast,
Wait.
yeah.
It likes the other page.
Yes.
So let me ask. So this time you're now marketing cars for sale.
I'm
You're still
marketing.
writing for GT Spirits.
I'm still writing for GT Spirit, and I'm doing everything at it. Now I have all this time on my hands, and I write, I do everything. I open now the supercar wheels. I open another one called Imports for Sale. This was focusing on specifically JDM cars, import cars, and not just any JDM.
And this is
cars.
To what markets at this point?
I'm focusing on export markets.
Okay, so the European
market, Middle East market, South American market, US market, and now I also had now the supercar for sale page. That was the fastest growing one. So for me, the decision was going to come down to the page that grows the fastest. So supercars for sale got to 70K way quicker than anyone else.
And you are
so I was like,
this is the one.
This is the one I'm focusing on. You know?
And how did you understand how to like do the whole transaction? Like get a car from Sweden, take it to Spain. Like how do you understand that whole process?
With your friends who are...
Now the thing is, like I said, once you're already working with supercars, especially on an editorial context, you know so much that you assume that everyone else knows. But that's not the case. So for example, I know a specific car. Like now, if I ask you, for example, on the market, in the local market, I can ask you, do you know any Type R in Kenya? You probably know a few. But the common person, they don't know that. So if you decide to just start marketing those
types of cars,
that the normal person doesn't know and they really want them, you have your market there. So for me, I already had this information. I know rare cars every corner of the world. Like I could pinpoint where half the SLR Starling Moss were, you know?
In fact, I saw him on Twitter saying there were 2 McLaren F1s in South Africa. I was like, how do you know there were 2 in South Africa?
Yes,
he even had the number.
Yes, it was, to be fair enough, I had actually forgotten about the other one until Alpine posted a picture. And
Martin Alpine.
Yes, and shout out to him, yes. And I remember there was one, because recently there's a replica in South Africa, a very nicely done, white body McLaren F1, I would take it. And I know it's not cheap, but South Africa had 2 of those, and one stayed in a museum, and it appears that it had a UK plate for the time it was in SA. Then it flew back to the UK. Then there was the original one that came to South Africa under 1-year permit from Germany. That car stayed for some time, went to the US in Arizona, stayed there, then came back to South Africa, stayed for a period of time up to 2020, then left to the UK. And for those who don't know, we are talking about a McLaren F1. It's not the Formula 1 car. We're talking about one of the best hypercars ever made
in the 90s,
designed by Gordon Murray, South African as well.
South African?
Yes, Gordon Murray is South African.
No,
and he's behind quite a few good designs.
The T50.
Yes, T50 now he has his own car company now. And that car back then the adverts were about 700,000, 800,000. A McLaren F1 right now will set you up to 30 million pounds. Depending on the car that we are speaking of. I mean, you can get some cheaper off market, but if you go on market,
that's an average.
You're not spending less than that.
You can imagine this guy knows like where a McLaren F1 has been.
Like it's been moving, and he's like.
Now that kind of information is what I slept on.
Yes, because
I know all this information. I could pinpoint where all the 6 manual Lamborghini Murcielago LP460 are. That's a very rare car. Well, a normal L460 E-Gear, that's the automatic, is trading for about, let's say, 400,000. A manual is trading for about 2 million shillings. You remember Ron, the guy who bought one in the US? So those cars are just brilliant. And there was one right-hand drive that someone crashed. It was in Malaysia. So you see, you're following all these kind of cars. And you know everything about them. So whenever you want to offer a car for sale, if someone tells you, actually what used to happen, someone tells you, it's this car for sale, I already know which car. Even if I didn't know it's for sale, I will ask him, are you talking about the car in Indonesia? He says, yes, it's that car.
Just to, maybe, I don't know if this is info he wants to divulge, but so I'm a buyer. I want that manual Murcielago. So what's the process like? Like all the way from finding the guy with it to actually getting him to sell it.
Yes.
And then how do you even get to ship it from this small maybe country like Thailand all the way to some other country? Like, what's that kind of a process?
So initially, what used to happen, obviously, I'm new to the game. I don't have a company. I don't have anything. You partner up with someone who's already in the game.
Okay.
So I partnered up with older generation, people who don't know what social media marketing is. They just do email, newsletters, and all that. And I got a few guys who we used to work with. And basically what happens is you use their company to do the transaction, then you get a commission off it. So I'm finding the buyer, connecting direct to the buyer. But now as time grows, you realize that you can also go independent. So eventually I have opened two companies, and because depending on the area that you're trading, especially after UK broke off from Europe,
yeah.
then you need to have a company for Europe and you need to have a company for the UK.
Yeah.
So what will happen is there are two ways of doing it. If you do trust your supplier, because some cars are quite sensitive and you don't want that liability. By law, even every bank will just tell you, especially when you tell them, I'm doing this, I'm a supercar broker, the bank will always advise you, don't handle the actual amount of the car.
Yeah.
Handle your commission. The last thing the bank wants is someone to call them up and tell them that this money that you held and that came through you
Was fraudulent.
Was for money laundering.
Yeah.
not even laundering. The buyer never got the car.
Oh, basically, someone has paid
Basically,
the
it's
car.
fraud.
Yes,
Fraud,
yes.
Yeah.
That's the last thing they want.
Yeah.
So the bank will always tell you, just handle commissions with this and we'll give you the account.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest issues I had opening an account in the UK. And they just couldn't give my company an account. Number one, I'm from Kenya. Number two, I want to handle, they look at the cars I'm dealing.
So they can see the sums of money.
Then they see, I mean, you're going to handle $2 million coming into this account. And we haven't even seen the car. Because at some times, the buy is in Indonesia. The car is in, let's say, it could be even in Czech Republic. And you need to ship it. So the money is only passing through the bank. The bank doesn't get to see the product. You don't even have the physical place where that car is. And that's where now the bank tells you, you'd rather just handle
Your
the
commission.
So that's one way. So it's the easiest way and it's the safest way, even for you. Because it means that once the contract is drafted, your fee is agreed upon.
Right.
There's a buyer commission or seller commission. And the buyer will pay directly to the seller.
Yeah.
Once the transaction is done, the commission comes to your account.
Yeah.
So that works with trusted suppliers and trusted buyers. In most cases, when you're dealing the high-end cars and when you're dealing with markets like Middle East, when you're dealing with markets like the US, you will not have issues with commissions. Yes, high trust market. The US is not even a high trust market. It's just the last thing a US person wants to hear. Call my lawyer. Lawyering up in the US is the last thing someone wants to hear in a deal. Because if the contract stated that you're supposed to pay this person and you didn't pay him, bro, it's a payday. It's not like here. It's a payday, and it's not a payday for waiting in years. It's a payday now. So for markets like Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, I don't do Dubai. Funny enough, I don't do Dubai market.
Because it's very Cosmo.
Dubai, unfortunately, first of all, there are so many cars there. And number two, most people want to finance, and there's nothing wrong with that. So they will, and most banks will want you to have the car there. So I have to fund the car, take it to Dubai. And number three, unfortunately, too many wannabes in Dubai. Lots of talking. You waste time on a car and nothing is happening. But if you get the actual buyers with supercars, and I was telling someone this today, there's less talking, less discussions. For most people, they value their time. If you're dealing with someone who's buying, let's say, a McLaren Senna or even a P1 918 Spider, they value their time. And if someone values their time, they're not going to waste your time. If I'm dealing with someone who wants a CX-5, for example, you can talk for up to 3 months.
Then they tell you, I've changed my mind, I'll buy next year.
Next thing, they walk into a dealership and
they just buy a local one.
they just buy a local one.
Yeah.
You've been working for 3 months. And that's why I always tell people, when I'm dealing with requests from Kenya, for example, a deposit is a must. It's refundable, but at least I know you will not waste my time, and I will also not waste your time. So if we don't find what we are looking for, and you give me a period, let's say it's 2 weeks. If we don't find the car, I refund your money, full amount.
Yeah.
But if I decide to just keep asking, I send you all the cars, send you everything, and you're not acting on that, it means you've wasted my time.
Yeah.
And you probably don't value your time.
And it's a thing Kenyans are known for.
Unfortunately.
Shopping.
Unfortunately. So with those high trust markets, like I was saying, it's easy to do that. But now there are markets like Europe and the UK. Those are not high trust markets, unfortunately. Especially Germany now is full of people you can't trust, dealers that you can't trust. So in that case, 2 ways again of doing it. So the buyer is going to send an amount to your account, which is equivalent, for example, to your commission. And you just now connect them directly. But now there's a risk. If he's a repeat buyer and you don't trust the supplier, they'll never include you in the deal again. So this is where now you need a proper company with a proper account, and you have to now handle the full amount.
So you basically escrow the money.
You're not even escrowed. You're basically the dealer now, because you're handling the full amount.
Yeah, and if things go south,
it's on you.
Now it's on you. So he doesn't even need to know who the seller is, who the contract is between me
and the buyer.
Yes. So for me, for cars which I'm selling, for example, to within Europe or within the UK, I actually don't connect the buyer and the seller. I have to handle it fully.
But then that for you have to do a lot of due diligence on sellers.
No, sellers are people who, now we have our ways. So for example, for me, I do not pay without picking the car. So we have a system. I'm not sure if that system is common here in our local banking, but there's instant payment. And depending on how good your bank is, you can even transact up to $2 million instant. And by instant, I mean, I will not pay until I see the car. So I will go with my truck. So we have a truck. We go with the truck to where the car is being sold. The car is checked. It's a brand new car, for example, loaded on the truck. Press start. Within 30 minutes, the amount is in your. Now, if it's an account within Europe, it's even easier because it's going to take. But now the problem comes if you're paying from, let's say, a UK account into inter-countries. So if you have that instant transfer, it's within 30 minutes, that amount has reflected in the account. But your truck is there, it's ready. And if the place is too shady, let's say it's not a dealership, it's a private supplier, because some of them, my best deals are coming from private suppliers. So you get security for that. You have to get security for that. Because you can go with a truck and things go south. I have seen cars being stolen en route.
The truck.
Yes. Especially from Poland into other countries, cars do get stolen.
And South Africa, not the car, the parts. So lights.
Well, I'm not sure they'll do that with hypercars. But
they do that. They will do that, especially. I know. Not part won't be. The parts won't work. The whole car will go.
The whole car.
Yes. I have known over 288 GTO being stolen. I mean, how many F40s were stolen in the 90s? Some of them are just being found now. And that's because the original owners who bought them from in their own illicit ways died. So the car has been in the family.
In barns and things like that.
There was one that was shipped back to the UK.
I think I saw that story.
You saw that story, yeah?
Yeah, stolen in the 40, found out, I don't know how many years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many were stolen in the 90s, and they're just been found out, and many went to Japan, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Back then, the Yakuza mafia was buying a lot of cars.
So Japan is not a high trust market.
No, it's a high trust market,
but only on the open market.
On the open market, they take the cars seriously. But in the 90s, the Yakuzas were buying a lot of cars.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll be surprised that some of the biggest dealerships in Japan are mafia related, and they don't care about the prices they give you. They'll just name a price.
Want it.
Interesting.
So it's
Then what was your first supercar sale? Which car did you
Like the
sell?
one that you are like, wow.
No,
I
the first
sold.
one,
Yeah.
and then the most crazy.
the first one was my favorite car.
You don't have to
definitely.
name a price. Just
Yeah.
And
just
it
the
was
car.
not staged or anything.
Mm.
It just came naturally.
Mhm.
It was my favorite car, the GT3 RS
was the first
991.
one.
991. Yes. In fact, I think I sent the first 991 GT3 RS outside grey import now to Argentina. My first grey import, the first grey import GT3 RS to Argentina.
And was this through your socials or these
Socials.
The supercars for sale.
Socials, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I have sold any car outside of socials.
referrals?
Referrals will come, but mainly it's through families. So, for example, with all my my buyers from the Middle East, it's a very big market I have. When I sell to one house, let's say I sell to the house of Alemadi, they have house names.
Yeah.
All the brothers, the cousins, once they see,
Yep.
they'll keep asking from you.
Yeah.
And Arabs are they have that brotherhood. So if one person buys from me,
Yep.
I'm telling you, everyone
Will come to
will keep coming. So I have, like in Qatar, I have at least 4 houses
Where these are
where
my
I know
guys.
that these are,
Yeah.
and these are not even linked to the royal family or political class or anything like that. These are just private people.
Yeah.
But their sisters, their cousins, their wives.
Yeah.
I'm just supplying to them.
Craziest car you sold?
Craziest car would have to be a T50.
You sold a T50?
I did sell a T50.
When was that?
And this was back in March.
I think a T50 is one of the best sounding cars.
It's
ever.
when you hear it in person. First time I had the T50 in person.
It's like they actually tuned the exhaust just to sound.
Now the strange thing about the T50, it has 2 startups.
Yeah.
My first time I didn't know. But what happens, there's a starter generator.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes on first. The starter generator is louder than your normal sports car. It's a generator, but it's so loud, you think, oh, finally the car has come alive. Then the V12 comes alive.
That's when it kicks in now.
Bro, first time I had it, I'm looking at this. I'm about to, just cut the video because I think I've had it all. Fires up. I think the only other car that comes closer, probably in the same level, is a Huayra R. Yes, the track only. Yes, the Pagani. Yes, the track only spec.
Nice.
So that was a good sale. I have sold some good cars down the
Can
line,
imagine
but
V12s already sounds so nice.
yes.
But now on T50s,
50.
No, in that unique market, what normally happens is with those there are some restrictions put in cars like the SP3s. I have sold 2 SP3s so far, and none that I can even post publicly or like sold.
Yeah.
I have posted them locally because not many people but out there cannot
post them. Yeah.
So I do get to post them on my page, but the business page,
You don't post.
that is bad news for the buyer of the car, for the seller of the car. Sorry, because you find that SP3 is tied to his upcoming SP4, upcoming SF90XX, and upcoming F80. If you resell before the 12 months are over,
it's going to be a problem.
Yes.
Because this the Ferrari, Porsche, they tend to force people to buy mini cars so you can get special allocations.
Yes, and just to let people understand
And
how.
also, you have to kind of warn them for a period of time before you can.
Yeah, that's what
let
I
it
wanted
come
to
out.
explain, just to have people who understand what restriction periods are. When you're buying hypercars and special ultra limited cars, you have a restriction period because the dealer does not, they only allocated, let's say, 500 or 300. And everyone wanted it. Do you know how many people can afford it? But they're only 300. Among over 10,000 active Ferrari buyers in the world, only 300 of these cars are available. most of them can afford a $2 million car. But the problem is they want to limit the number. So each dealership will get at least one allocation, at least the main dealerships.
Yeah.
And the big ones like Monaco will get maybe 2 to 3 allocations. But now the problem comes in where the first buyers want to resell it immediately at double the MSRP.
Yeah.
Like SP3s are about 2.2, 2.3 MSRP, million euros.
Yeah.
But they are not trading up to 5 million euros.
MSRP kwa watu ambao
Kwa
It's
watu,
a retail price.
ni ile bei ya sticker. Ile,
kama
when you go to the supermarket, that's sticker price, right?
Yes,
ukiona
it's-
kwa pombe inakonga recommended retail price,
Yes,
RRP.
it's the
Same
base,
thing.
yes, base price,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So what happens is the people who are second in line and third in line, they will complain and say, these people didn't buy to drive them. Me, I would have bought this car to drive it. But these people are buying to resell.
Yeah.
We don't want this. So Ferrari and Porsche and other manufacturers, they come up with a system and say, 12 months restriction period, 18 months restriction period, do not resell. It's called a resell policy. And if you try to resell, you have to come back through your dealership, and the dealership will decide what price they'll do. So they'll even take a cut on what you will earn.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But now what happens is, obviously, it's my car. I do whatever the hell I want with it. So there are 2 types of resellers. 3 types, actually. The first reseller, he's just overly connected. He can actually order that car from 2 different dealerships because he has a home in UK and a home in China. And especially in those developing countries and
not a big
those
deal.
Asian countries,
Yeah.
if you know who, I can get whatever I want. Yes,
you can
you
get
know.
a car.
Yeah.
But now, that's the first person. He won't care. He will sell the first one in London. Then if they try to close his account, he's like, I'm not even going to invest in your dealership. I mean, you find a guy who has invested over $200 million in your dealership, and you want to snitch
block
him
him
to
off.
Ferrari that the car was resold.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Gonna happen.
Now there's the second person. He's like, I'm tired of playing this game. Fuck it. I'm calling in, I'm cashing in on these SP3s, and I'm done buying Ferraris. I actually even don't like the modern ones.
I'm moving to Lambos.
Yes, not even that. I'm just done. I'll buy the older ones.
Yeah.
So he cashes in his 2 million profit
Yeah.
and calls it a day. It's not like Ferrari will jail him. So those are the cars you get to see posted online. Then there's the third person, the most common one. I want to stay in the game. I'm making good money. In a year, let me just tell you, there are people, Ferrari collectors, they are millionaires by their business, but they make millions per year on their cars. So you find a guy Porsche has released a limited edition car, McLaren has one, Ferrari has one, and Lamborghini has one. And this guy has been allocated. So what he does, he is not going to ask a high premium like the person who is selling publicly. So when this person is asking, let's say 5 million for his publicly listed SP3, this guy is going to sell his at 3.8 to 4 million, which is still a good amount of profit. It's
maybe 100, 200.
it's actually about 1.5 million in profit.
That's
Still
crazy,
good, yeah. So what happens is he's not going to advertise it. He's going to deal with someone like me. The buyer who is going to come through you, please tell them, number 1, don't post the car.
Yep.
Number
2, you try to make the car different.
So maybe they wrap it.
Yeah, most people will always wrap it. It's the quickest, it's the oldest trick in the book. So you wrap the car. Number 3, obviously don't post it, don't take it to the dealership for service.
Yeah.
So my work is to find buyers who are enthusiasts.
Yeah.
They understand that whenever I want to go for service, I'll go to an independent shop.
Yeah.
I do service, record it for the first 1 year until restriction ends. Then I will resume to Ferrari dealerships once the restriction is over.
Yeah.
Number 2, I will not post that car.
Yeah.
And if I post it,
Basically, they're not buying it for the show off. They're buying it because they love it.
Yes. They know they don't want to spoil the relationship, and they know the game because probably they've done it at some point with other cars. So that is the most popular type of person. And once they sell those, now you can imagine the person who sold the slot has that, he sells a Porsche the same way.
Yeah.
You're making at least 10 million in profits per year.
Just flipping.
You're making more than dealerships,
Yeah.
basically.
That's crazy.
And that's why flipping is frowned upon
Yeah.
because it denies
Mm.
the people who actually wanted to drive those cars.
Yeah.
And
It also denies the dealerships the match they would have made.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
of course I'm sure they would have wanted to
yes,
have
yes,
Yeah.
they would
even
have wanted to
prices.
have that. But you see, also, the dealerships are not stupid nowadays.
Mm.
They will also order those cars through proxies.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Yes, they're not.
Or they'll rebuy the cars.
Yeah, no, they just buy it through proxies.
Yeah.
Proxy are the quickest way to make money also. So this is a proxy is a trusted person who is working with that dealership. He's probably a partner, silent partner, and he's in to make money. Doesn't care about the cars.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for only a few people who are hardcore enthusiasts who want to buy those cars and drive them, and they get to take them, but not everyone.
Not everyone.
And the good thing is that with Ferraris, they're the most, they return the most investment here. Even people who bought them and finishes the restriction period, even stays with the car an extra 1 year, you can still make profit on that car. It's a Ferrari at the end of the day. So they don't get to lose it.
Yeah.
They just don't get to make as much as the guy who sold it off the bat, you know.
I think one of the highest selling, the priciest cars is the Ferrari GTO, 250 GTO.
Yes, GTOs are now selling at over $80 million.
$80 million, yeah.
And it's just insane amounts of money.
Like that's the entire budget. Yeah, Kenya.
That's the thing we are fighting about.
Yes, we're fighting about it in the streets, but
yes, and the commissions on that are insane.
Yeah.
In such trades, it's, I mean, everyone's dream in my position. It's my dream to sell at least no, I don't even want to go that high yet.
Yeah.
McLaren F1, a CLK GTR,
Okay.
you know, those kind of high-end cars. The highest I've actually gone to selling was a joint project we did on a Pagani Zonda. And that's probably the pound for pound, the most expensive car I've ever handled.
Yeah.
But
no more Pagani Zonda, or it was a special Zonda?
No, it was an F Club Sport.
Oh.
Yes. Those are actually quite rare to find because every other Zonda F has been converted to a 760. So my dream obviously is to be able to sell something like an F1, something like a CLK GTR, a 911 GT1.
Yeah.
My favorite Ferrari which I have been chasing to just even deal in one, even as a side. The 250 GT Berlinetta, not the GTO, the Berlinetta. Okay. Yes, so those are trading for about 16 to 20 million.
Yeah,
and it's just about the best looking Ferrari ever made. It's one of the cars I would wish to do before I even get to that high level of. There are other cars which are obviously once you start going to the racing cars, there are other cars which are more valuable, you know, and they have a market for themselves. My market is new money. New money, age between 20 to 45.
45 there.
That's where my clientele is. But there are people who deal with now old money,
guys,
dealing with especially 50 to 60. That's an era of people who are buying proper race cars. The 962, Porsche 962.
They're more like
cars.
Heritage buyers. They want something with some.
No, they just want something which was cooler during their days. And until I get there, I will only get there with buyers like now yourselves. You grew up watching R34 GTRs, 911 GTR, GT3 RS.
Yeah.
And by the time we are getting to the age of 60, those cars will be icons.
Yeah.
So I will be able to sell easily to people like you because we are the same agement, number one. And number two, we all understand the same
guys
cars.
who are looking for vehicles on Sotheby's.
Yes.
Or that point, Earls. Or whatever.
So it's just everything with this car industry. Don't rush your process. You grow with your client. If you've gotten a certain client, you grow step by step. No one starts today and tomorrow you're selling a 250 GTO. It's the dream. It's everyone's dream. Everyone wants to sell a 250 GTO.
But it doesn't
just happen like that. Not many people are willing to just come and tell you have $80 million to play with. Here it is. And I have to be honest, I have at least 5 clients who are in the Forbes list. In fact, one of the biggest collector in the world with over 400 Ferraris. He resides in New Zealand. I'm sure people who know about cars, they've already known who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think he sounds very familiar.
Yes. So
Asianish.
He's Asian. Yeah. So he was the first person to get the expensive Rolls Royce, the one of one, and the swept tail.
Yeah.
Remember, And funny enough, as much as he's in the Forbes list, I have grown with him through Humble Cars. I always joke and say that the cars I sell him are the cheapest in his collection. He is the only client I sold an LM to. I don't even deal with the Lexus LM. He just told me I need one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I make a few calls. Do you have this? Is it something that people want? He's like, yeah, we have one. Send him. It's the 4-seat.
Yeah.
So he just needs a car that when he's in London, he can from his house,
the airport,
from his house to the airport.
Yeah.
Just that. From his house to the airport.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
And I have sold him, a 765 LT, the normal supercars. But if he was to buy a premium car from me, then I see him buying cars and he's spending up to $40-50 million on cars.
Yeah.
And obviously, with such a client, you grow slow by slow.
Yeah,
so I don't even rush.
At some point, he will get you the more expensive one. Eventually.
Yes, we are in very good terms in terms of our professional relationship. I haven't met him in person, but I have met his team. He has a team working. He's so big. He has a team working for his collection. A 10 plus. They are based in London. Their work is to manage the collection. And this is something else that people don't know, especially car enthusiasts. Yes, collection managers are actually a job. There's a job around that.
It's a real thing.
Even someone like Shmi 150, in the Shmi Museum, he has guys who manages
his own
garage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you know your cars well, there are jobs out there where you get to manage collections.
Yeah. That would be the best job ever.
No, it's the best job ever. I mean, I have people who I'm working with, and like there's one guy from Denmark, and he's managing one of the biggest collections in Denmark. And I mean, he makes the decision. He's lived with that collection to a point now. He actually does make the decision. The same to another guy, also another broker in Czech Republic.
What's going to leave the collection and what's
so he contacts me and he says, we are looking for this. And when he does that, I rush like I'm dealing with the owner because he has the power to make the decision. He just calls the owner, says, we found the car, please, you can pay up. So yes, there's a job for everyone out there. If you love your cars well and you think you can manage a collection, start looking for those.
Just start managing minis down here.
Yes.
Eventually you'll get somewhere.
I can manage your AMG.
It's a good place to start.
It's 2 or 3 car collection. You can be like, I'm the local guy here. I have the power to make the decision.
So
So as we are wrapping up, going to mass, 1 car. This is what you're going with.
One car from his garage or just another?
No, just one in the world. Like any, no value, nothing, just anything.
Anything.
You're going to mass forever.
You're coming back.
Take 1 car with you.
I think I would go with a Jimny. Honestly.
Okay.
I would go with a Jimny. I need something that if it spoils or something happens, I can manage it. And I can get anywhere.
Okay.
Imagine I don't want to deal with aliens there and my car is stuck because I can't go over bumps or something like that. You know?
Yo.
Right. Have to be smart on that.
A Jimny is what gets to mass.
Well,
this has been a brilliant episode.
It's been a brilliant episode.
Loved every part of it.
Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure. For real.
I think you'll be coming quite often. But no, of course,
even due to popular demand.
Story.
But there will be more stories. I mean, this was just the intro to Earl. So there's so much more we can discuss. Again, he sells knowledge about cars. So you can imagine how much more there is to.
He's a walking encyclopedia on cars. Except Kenyan cars. Like this guy, he was driving your car the other day. He didn't know to turn the lights. He drove at lights.
I mean, my own car, I don't know how to turn the lights.
So yes, see you on the next one. It's been real.
Cheers.